Here we are. It is the Beck Scrum. It is Sam and Michael. I have just come from the Autograders Beta Tester meeting, where we didn't have too many new issues, actually. And as a result, Rose and I worked through actually putting in a fix for the problem that we had got to the bottom of in our pairing session last week. And I've merged that into the master branch on the grader, and it's working on staging. And so I'm tempted to push that out onto production fairly soon, actually, which would be an improvement. Although, of course, I'm always like tense. It's going to break everything. It's not great. It's so sensitive. Who knows? But so that was reasonably successful. Before that lunch, I'm halfway through watching lecture 2 from the Stanford CS231N course, before which we had the deep learning mob, which seemed to go okay. And now I think I've just got to catch up with all of the paperwork and admin tasks for the rest of the day. There was some talk of possibly having an AV community meeting, but I would happily spend the next hour and a half working on admin to kind of get that. I mean, not happily, but get to the bottom of all that stuff, or at least get those things out of the way. Michael, how are things going with you?
Yeah, so I was in the deep learning mob and covered that, and then kind of segue into the next week. But I was looking at the pull requests and your comments on it.
For website 1.
Yes, website 1, the adding sponsor relationships pull request, and I'm thinking, should we add, so for requiring authentication for somebody to either sponsor someone or purchase for themselves, should that be added in this pull request, or in theory this pull request could be pulled in separately, right? And then that could be built off on that.
Yeah.
Some of these things revised, or would you rather have it all in one?
I think probably keep them separate, and unless you're feeling that this pull request itself is kind of incoherent. I guess this pull request still works. It's just that I guess what I would say, if this pull request was pulled in and someone did sponsoring and they weren't logged in, would that then cause the API to break or something else to break? Would it throw an error? And no.
Shouldn't.
No,
because we haven't tested that scenario.
Right. You have tested that scenario.
I mean, that test is already, those scenarios are already tested by the vast majority of our tests.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is, I mean, the main change that we've got here is that, okay, well, that's interesting. So you're defaulting the sponsor to be the current user. And so now add subscription to user of a plan includes the sponsor field. And so, yeah, you've updated the subscription so that it can have a sponsor ID, which would be filled with the user. Yeah. So I guess we've got the.
I mean, it shouldn't break. It should just end up having a nil sponsor.
Right.
So it won't be recording that information.
Right.
So when we do actually want to use it for real, you'll have to go back and automate. You have to go back and manually do that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that sensibly it wouldn't go into this pull request, but where we are now, I mean, and I've got to the point where I don't think that I don't think we've been able to unleash a flood of new subscriptions as a result of not requiring people to be logged in, and in fact, probably on balance, we've maybe caused more confusion by not requiring people to log in because they sort of think that they should be. It's such a strong expectation that sometimes people will they'll sign up for it and then they'll think, oh, I wasn't, and then they'll re-sign up again, and then I have to go and fix things in the database. So thank you for bearing with me while we tested my absolute minimum approach, and we can happily throw that out now. Yeah, so I'll do a bit more review and pull this in, and then also try and get the API out onto production as well.
Okay.
I was also spending time. What's quite pleasing about today is that we've got a few new people in mobs and potential upgrades, and yeah, I'm also going through the database and trying to update records in the database so that it reflects the current state of affairs. So we are thinking on control. Okay, good stuff. Anything else blocking you or on your mind, or?
No. The other thing I'm thinking is when they add a script subscription, right? So say that they go from premium to premium mob. That transition. So does their premium subscription doesn't get marked as ended, right?
That's a good question.
It's kind of just laying around there.
Let's have a well. I think we would have to look at exactly what does happen in order to get to the bottom of that. The thing that I'm wrestling with is that I don't think we have a route for upgrading them if they're on PayPal, which is frustrating. We do.
Is there a reason for that, or is it like is there like a block on that, or just?
I think we haven't. One, we haven't implemented it, but two, I'm not sure how well PayPal supports that. This is the update here. So we've got this command here to update plan through Stripe. I think at the moment, this, what are we doing here? Which is that? We're upgrading plan through Stripe. Which is its current user plan. So this customer is then a remote Stripe object. We then get this subscription. We change this and then we save it. So that's all changes on the Stripe side. And then, so at the moment, when people, what happens is that the subscription that they're on, we just change the plan. So effectively what's going to happen is it will show premium.
Wrong data. It'll be wrong.
The data is wrong in as much as, yeah, it won't show that the premium, for example, the premium ended and premium mob started. It
implies that they always had premium mob.
Yeah,
which is
not ideal. Bad is a strong word. It's what we have is a low fidelity representation.
Well, I think what it's called is spurious, right?
Well,
spurious data noise.
It is. It's inaccurate, but it would be worse, for example, if it was like setting it at this point as that it was updating the subscription start to this point, and then there was no record at all whatsoever of them having been premium.
Right. So, and ideally, what it should do is it should end that premium subscription and start the new one, like a fresh new one.
Yeah, I mean, it would create a new subscription object there.
Because potentially, yeah.
Well, indeed. For a future analysis, we would like to be able to distinguish between, that we would like to be able to say, right, this person started premium on this date, and they continued up until this point, and this was the point at which they upgraded to premium mob. And I mean, I think it'll be a long time before we have. I'll back up. The data that we have, there's already the number that we've got, like 50 plus premium members. Of the premium members, we've then got, it's like 10 of 50. So it's a very small data set to do anything sensible with, but it's not also nice to have accurate data. So, but yeah, in the future, it would be, with large enough numbers, you could be doing prediction about when a premium member might be on the cusp of upgrading to premium.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying it is really imbalanced. Like, that's the key thing, right? But that's common from what I understand. Like, heavy imbalance is common.
Well, no, I think there's heavy imbalance, but
you're saying like, there's just not enough points overall.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm saying we've got a lot of data on one side, but I think even when you have a heavy imbalance, right, you might have like 100,000, of which 1% of them, or 0.5% of them, are positives. Like, and that's I think fairly common in like medical research data and so whatever, the chances of cancer occurring or what have you. But even in that case, you've still got like 1,000 positive instances. Whereas,
that's what we're kind of doing with SMODE, is what we're using the magic of SMODE
to elaborate and pretend and like
pretend that we can fill in those areas
from those things. Yeah. That's cool. That's cool. But yeah, I think it's great to have a focus on all of these components and no, I mean, yeah. And so that's the interesting thing where if we were upgrading to an events framework, then that would maybe be overall. I guess the quicker thing is to be making changes here so that one subscription starts and the next one stops and so on and so forth. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll try and get that merged in. Nice one. Well done getting that done with Aaron.
Should we open the ticket for the other
Please do for adding the login, and you can open a ticket as well for improving the way in which the
subscription upgrades are handled.
The subscription upgrade is represented, and then also, I mean, this is I guess on the see, we've got upgrade plan through Stripe. We've got the update here. I don't know if we even just don't. We've certainly got a situation, I think, here conceivably where if somebody has got the pay, I think we had this with somebody who was on PayPal and trying to click through to upgrade their subscription, and it just failed. I think we've then had changes since that, or at least we're hoping to have changes in that. I don't know if the I think we've got here the standard error. Yeah, we're sorry we can't. Yeah, so I think we now have kind of an apology to the user that we can't do it with PayPal. I wonder if that's even, can we do PayPal?
Is there like a directions on to reach out to support?
Yeah, it gives an email address to
Has anybody ever done that?
No. But the person who first encountered the error did reach out, and I did get them upgraded.
But nobody else has nobody else has upgraded through that path.
I think we might have had some upgrades through that path, but those are people who are Stripe. I think what we haven't had
but not through PayPal.
No, I mean, I've got a person at the moment who's on PayPal and wants to upgrade, and I'm having to try and work out how to do that.
So how do we? I guess my question is, like, how many people have upgraded through Stripe?
I'd say it's a handful. It's like 3 or 4.
Okay, well, there's probably not anything. I was going to say, like, if there's a large number of people that upgraded on Stripe and there's an equal number of people on PayPal, if the size of PayPal is roughly the size of our Stripe pool, and we're getting like nobody upgrading on PayPal, and there's like quite a few upgrading through Stripe, then that probably would indicate that that's turning people off from upgrading.
Indeed, I mean it's I mean the sense I have at the moment is that people are not kind of looking at it that way, but I guess we don't have numbers on it. I mean, so far, it still feels like.
I mean, it would be interesting, I guess, to see how many people hit that endpoint.
Yeah,
the PayPal endpoint. And record how many people there are, and like.
Yeah, it would. I mean, I still get the sense that the upgrades and indeed even the signups tend to come from me actually making a connection with people and kind of selling them on, look, here's this new mob, it'll have these things in it, and than it does from people sort of like browsing the website and so on. But I think we have had a couple, but then the ones who kind of come out of the blue, who haven't been having a conversation with me, tend to be the ones who also cancel relatively quickly. I don't know, with various improvements, we will see. Anyway, I'm going to go make a cup of tea and try and get some of these things deployed. There does seem to be something here about. I mean, I think it's another thing to. I think in principle we can reach out programmatically to PayPal and adjust the recurring payment, but so you can in principle do that. It's another can of worms to look into, but good to get set up. All right, good to see you, Michael. Bye for now.